is up, everybody?
The
It's
ceiling.
Sunday night. We're live.
Yay!
You got the doc.
Got Wild Bill.
Yeah, James.
Just James.
Hey.
No, Your Highness. No big game. No, man. I can't mess with you now.
See, I told you, if we're going legit, it's gonna have to be more normal.
Well, what are you talking about? Going legit has to be more normal. This is controlled chaos, baby.
It's always controlled chaos.
Right. You're losing your edge, sir.
All right, so it's Sunday. Today we're talking about
Sunday.
the Roswell UFO crash because we talked about it last week. We're going to talk about it tonight a little bit more in detail.
Yes.
And of course, I did work up a little something for Bill here.
Oh, did you know? And what did you work up for me, sir?
Our team stuff is going across the bottom. So right now what you're seeing is
Nice.
thegapsociety.com. That is Mr. James.
Yes.
That's his page. So
Yeah,
we're going to let that play for a while so everybody can write it down. Go over there, check it out.
You're welcome.
So just it's going to take some time to play around with things to get a little bit better with it.
Nice.
Just, nothing but love for you there, pal. Oh, hey, so we're live, right? So
We're live.
Yes,
everyone out there who's watching, wish the Doc Man a happy birthday.
that's right.
Happy birthday to you.
I will
Happy
mute you.
birthday to you.
I will
Happy
mute your mic.
birthday, dear Doc.
I will mute you.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Eh.
Very much. Oh.
And he's old and gray.
You have to have hair to be gray.
No, it could be in your beard.
I ain't got much of a beard left.
No. All right, so James will just have to be. You'll be old and he'll be gray.
Hey, no, that's not how it works.
Works for me. Works for me.
Of course it works.
Look, I don't have gray in my hair yet.
Anyways, so anybody that's in the chat, we've actually got it up so we can answer your real-time questions. As people comment in on the feed on Facebook, I don't have it up on YouTube, but I got that going. We got our research investigative.
Is our researcher watching
on the line?
Is our researcher watching?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, they should chime in.
I'm sure they will. But they've done another wonderful job in researching the topic for the night.
Oh, boy. You know what? This researcher we have, top notch, man. Knocked it out of the ballpark yet again. Good job.
The research agent says no, they don't want to be on camera.
So you utilize the chat.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, so then with the new format, I'll go into the details, the storyline, the conspiracies. We can hash it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're not going to do so much the. No, they're not watching. They're not watching at the moment.
You're lame. What do you mean never? What do you mean never? I just got a message on Facebook Messenger from our researcher.
Anyway, so we'll go through. We'll discuss some of the issues, some of the problems with the situation down there in Roswell. We already know it's got a big Roswell UFO festival every 4th of July. It's in the middle of the desert. Why would anyone want to go to the surface of the sun? I only say that because I'm not much of a warm weather person. Anything over 80, I get very uncomfortable and grumpy. So
that's me at 75 to 80. So yeah, I'm with you there.
So let's go through it. Yes, I'm back in the office. I got to put some. That's a blank wall back there.
I'm in the same boat here because I just haven't got anything yet.
I'm supposed to be downstairs, but yeah, there are people over. Anyway, we're wasting time. Well, let's get right to the heart of it. That's what people want. All right, so we got July 7th, 1947.
Uh-huh.
Okay. A rancher named Mac Brazel, or Brazil.
Brazel.
Don't know how it's It's Brazel.
Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Brazel.
he lives on the outskirts of Roswell, New Mexico. He goes out on his farm that morning. And
Was he out near?
Huh?
Is Roswell near Alamogordo? Was it anywhere near Alamogordo?
I don't know off the top of my head.
That would have been the testing site for the A-bomb.
It's probably close to, because there were a lot of, in the late 40s, there was a lot of UFO sightings around test facilities, launch missile silos, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway.
Our researcher is watching, by the way, and is hitting me
I
up
know,
on Messenger and said, yeah.
Let the man just go with it.
Yes. In later notes, yes, it is close to there.
Yes. Yes.
I'm still on the first page.
Yes.
Focus.
I was just asking a simple question.
As I tell my dog, focus.
Continue.
All right. So he goes out the next morning. He's a sheep rancher, and he finds all this debris scattered around one of his fields. Metallic sticks, chunks of plastic, foil reflectors, heavy glossy paper-like material, strips of rubber, parts of a metallic disc. Then you've got unconfirmed reports that there were bodies located in said wreck. The military famously came out the next day and had a big press junket. Gotta find that name. He's a very famous guy. I'm blanking because it's been a long day.
Jesse Marcel.
Yeah. Probably that. Yeah. You probably were right on the money if you said a name. Anyway, so he basically had a press conference, laid out all the debris. There were pictures taken, big to do. It made the national news.
Well, the military actually did tell the papers that they had recovered a UFO, and then the higher ups in the Pentagon told them to go squash it, and so they rolled it back and said, "Oh no, it wasn't. We were mistaken. It wasn't. It was something else."
Project
Mogul. And what's that?
Project Mogul.
Yep. Project Mogul balloons, weather balloons with test dummies.
Microphones and radio receivers.
And that was to clarify the body situation 50 years later on.
That they were test dummies?
Huh?
That they were test dummies?
That they were test dummies in a balloon that got away from them.
Well, I mean, I also heard that they said that they tried to pawn it off as being like chimpanzees, and because they were high altitude and with the mishap that happened, that's what made those would deform the bodies. Yeah, that doesn't track with me either.
Well, so up to this point, what we got is we're going with the general story before we try to break it down into conspiracy theories and everything else. What we have is a UFO that crashes on the sheep rancher's land. He finds it. The military comes, gathers up everything. You got reports of men in black that apparently come in as well and tell everybody, no, you didn't see anything. You got all the it's a weather balloon. The bodies are actually test dummies. You've got a lot of stuff going on. Let's discuss that. So then, do we think it was a UFO weather balloon?
Well, all parties involved certainly believed it. I mean, Jesse Marcel believed it up until his dying day. His son was actually, it was a number of years ago at the McMinnville UFO Festival, where he was um, the parade marshal. He was actually the special guest, and again, he swears up and down because, like, you know, I tend to believe eyewitness accounts, and I wasn't there, so I can't call him a liar. But uh, Marcel Jr. said that his dad brought some of the material home, and he got to handle it, and it was like the consistency of tinfoil. Like it was lightweight like tinfoil, but yet it seemed like it was a very elastic kind of metallic material that, like, was off the charts. He said he handled it before his dad had to collect all the samples and give them back to the government. And then the government told him to be quiet about it, and then he didn't. Um, toward the end of his life in the '80s, that's senior, that is. Then he started being more vocal about it, and to the point where government G-men were, they were threatening him with loss of his pension, and they didn't actually um, say it in so many words, but they said that he could be snuffed out at any time. So the threat of danger was very real to these people. They felt that their lives were in danger, and so I mean that's kind of compelling right there. I'm like, unless you're a complete crackpot, which he wasn't. I mean, Marcel Senior was a very respected officer in the United States Army, and he was, like, when he said something, there was a lot of credibility that came with what he said. So, you know, ufologists, I mean, they take that to the bank. I mean, that's their biggest thing of believing that this was the real deal, is because here you have, I think he was a colonel, if I remember right. um, but you know, he had a lot of sway. He had a lot of pull. He had, and when he said something, you best listen. So, you know, I don't know. What I can say is that these people that did see the stuff truly believed what they say it was, and and everyone says that that this was not natural to Earth. It was out of this world. So
Right. I mean, we've got reports that some of the metals and stuff were different. They were very alien-esque.
mhm.
And I heard the same thing as you did, that, to the dying day, he proclaimed that, yeah, this was a UFO. We recovered it. I mean,
So there was a documentary that was done on him, and I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but I have seen um, um, interviews with the son, and like everything I relayed is exactly what he went on record as to saying himself. So I mean, like, when you've got a firsthand account like that, I mean, it's pretty difficult to dismiss, especially when you have a pedigree like which um, Jesse Marshall Sr. had. He um, he wasn't a crackpot. He wasn't a crazy. He wasn't cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So he, you know, he had some legitimacy behind what he was reporting, and they're like, hey, we need to keep this hush hush. And the conspiracy theory is that the reason why the government was so hush hush about it was because they felt that it would cause mass hysterics, and it would cause a not just a national panic, but a global panic as well. So they decided to keep it, under wraps. So, it's, oh, the skeptic in me that says, like, I don't believe in little green men from Mars or little gray men from Mars, like, like seeing is believing. And I know that I've seen uh, filmmakers looking at footage that was supposedly, uh, you know, filmed footage of uh, the bodies recovered from Roswell, and filmmakers were like, I don't know how. He's like, I'm a filmmaker. I replicate stuff all the time for the films that I make, and I don't know how I could have replicated that now, let alone 1947. 47, 48. The technology wasn't there. And he's like, if that's a fake, that's a really good fake and nothing I've ever seen in my life. So, I mean, and then you take that into account, and that adds a little more credibility to it. That if a filmmaker is saying there's no way that I could replicate this with the techniques and the processes that I have now in, the 20th century, 21st century, like that says something in and of itself as well. Unless they're in on a hoax. I mean, unless they're in on a hoax, but James, you're quiet.
Did you study up on this?
Me? Well, I was actually sitting here watching a couple documentaries for the last several hours, and listening to some of the eyewitnesses and their kids.
I do believe Bill has been doing his studying.
Yeah.
No, look. When you sent me the message that we were going to do this, and you told me to go do my homework, buddy, I didn't do crap. This is all from memory of stuff that I've watched and read years ago. You're welcome. No, I'm not, but thanks for the comparison.
Oh my God.
James, you want to throw
how am I supposed to follow that? Shit. I mean, honestly, like I just said, I was watching a couple.
I'm kind of feeling like he got the notes because.
Yeah. But
if I got notes, I didn't read them. I don't know. Did someone send me notes? I don't remember.
Oh shit! I was printing up shit, reading it all, and watching documentaries.
We're almost 20 minutes into an hour-long show, and he's already divulged everything on my notes.
He's good.
That's not a bad thing.
Sorry.
No. That you're kind of amazing people that you're right on top of this. And
okay, so look, I'm a sci-fi nerd, right? So I love science fiction, right? I mean, I grew up on Star Wars. I grew up on Star Trek. I grew up on all that stuff, not because I had a belief in aliens or any of that stuff. It's just I just found it fascinating. So while I am a skeptic, like I'll watch documentaries on Roswell. I'll watch documentaries on all kinds of stuff like that, and that's like because I find it fascinating. I don't know that I believe everything that they say, to be gospel truth, but I do find it fascinating, and I retain a lot of useless information, and I just tend to regurgitate it. And people come at me and they're like, "How do you know all this crap?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I found it fascinating, and it just stuck in my head."
Well, no, I think it's one of those things that we've kind of grown up on. We've got our local legends, our local stories. We've got the national stories. I mean, you got Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Patterson Air Force Base. You got Hangar 18. a lot of the Roswell stuff has made it into big time movies. I mean, the whole Independence Day movie was, oh, well, we found a saucer out in the desert with bodies, and this was it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really inspired a lot of cultural
pop culture. Yeah, absolutely.
Pop culture, cultural norms. I mean,
so
I've never been to Roswell because it's in the middle of the damn desert.
Well,
like I said, I don't like heat.
Well, with this just being
that's what air conditioning's for. I got
to go outside sometime.
I actually have been to Roswell, and it's a developed city. It's not like some, it's not this proverbial hole in the desert, kind of thing. I mean, it's built up. It's its own little, quasi metropolis. I mean, the city itself is probably the size of Milwaukee, Oregon, maybe. Or Milwaukee and Gladstone combined, possibly.
Yeah, but they probably get a lot more traffic in July for their festival.
Yeah, and I mean it's a huge tourist trap. I mean, like the thing is, like, they learned early on that, and so we have this little conspiracy thing. We're gonna run with it, and like it makes the city money. And like I've said before, I've told you before that, like, when I was there, just driving down the main strip, it's like alien, 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 alien. Standalone Christian bookshop. Alien, 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 alien. Even the car dealership had a facade on the outside of their building, and the facade was like that of a flying saucer crashed into their building. So like everybody capitalizes on the whole alien phenomenon because, I mean, it brings money. The restaurant that we went to, I think it was called the Alien Inn, and so we went in there, and everything on their menu was like some form of alien species, whatever. I mean, it was a hamburger cheeseburger that I had, but I mean, I don't remember what they called it. But and then they had a little gift shop, and you can buy little just alien related knickknacks. So like the city has totally embraced it, much like how McMinnville, Oregon does for their UFO parade in May. I mean, they just, it's where McMinnville does it for one weekend in May, Roswell does it year round. I mean, that's their big cash cow.
Right. Well, like Roswell was a crash. McMinnville was a sighting. It wasn't actually a crash. It was a farmer walked outside, took a picture of a flying saucer. It's supposed to be one of the best pictures out there of a flying saucer. So,
see, I thought I heard that there was a crash here in McMinnville as well, and that's why it was so huge.
No, not in McMinnville.
So it was just a sighting.
There was a crash up in Washington in the Puget Sound. You actually have to go into Tacoma and take the ferry across the island.
To Baines Island? I think
it's one of those islands.
Yeah.
But basically what had happened was a bunch of fishermen were out, and a flying saucer basically looked like it was under distress, flew over the ship. A bunch of hot debris and metal fell off, killed the dog, wounded the son, crashed into the bay there. The government, of course, showed up, loaded it onto a bomber, and they were flying it down to Patterson Air Force Base, I believe. And it actually crash landed in Longview. It had issues in flight and crashed in Longview.
Well, the cargo plane that was carrying it?
The bomber jet that was carrying it crashed in Longview, Kelso.
When was this?
This was in the 55, 56. I'd have to look it up.
Oh.
It'll probably be one of our shows now.
Well, the reason why I was asking was like if it had any correlation of a certain incident that happened in 1980.
No. It was this one was back in the 50s.
I was trying to connect dots. Yeah. Connect the dots. Nah, nah, nah. That would be Pee Wee's Playhouse. That was a reference
Sorry,
to
I was
Pee Wee's
waiting for the
Playhouse.
research individual to get me that information on the UFO crash. Because
because I burned through all the notes just off the top of my head, and
yeah, you kind of did.
through,
we're 25 minutes in. You've hit all my points.
And I never read the points. Damn, I'm
Maury
good.
Island is what it was. The Maury Island incident. It
Oh.
happened 2 weeks before Roswell. So 2 weeks before Roswell in 1947.
Really? Really? So there's this prevailing theory that, like, when we tested the first atom bomb in 45, and we ignited it, and it was a success. That there's a prevailing theory that when we did that, it's like it lit off a beacon to whatever's out there, and then that's when they started coming this way. And 2 years later, they make contact, or at least um, they start coming, kind of poking around, and uh, seeing what we're about or whatever. But um, interesting though is that um, I mean, since we're kind of on the topic of um, UFO sightings and such, um, you know, 47 wasn't the first time that people started seeing this phenomena. There have been unofficial reports that um, Allied bomber pilots were seeing what they called gremlins following their sorties. When they were on their bombing missions at nighttime, and that's you know it kind of got lost in through the cultural lore over the years, but um, they were told to keep their mouths shut, and unless they wanted to have their flight status being revoked from them, they'd better keep their mouth shut. And that's a consistent thing that has gone from 47 on till here just real recently. I mean, you have these people, these you know um, respected pilots who have they swear up and down they've seen something up there while they're out there flying, and they're told to keep their mouth shut unless they want to be deemed crazy, and lose their flight status, get kicked out of the military, lose their pension, their benefits, and all that stuff. So I mean, it's there's that theory that we kind of invited them to come down when we started playing with nukes. And there's another thought that um, they poke around every once in a while, and every time there's a sighting, it's usually been around the time period of like another. I mean, we'd have to check this. I mean, it's verifiable when the various different um, nuclear testings had occurred, but there's that thought that every time there was a nuclear bomb testing happened somewhere in the world, that's when we started seeing these unidentified objects flying around, because like they're kind of poking around, wondering what we're doing, but the one thing that seems to be a mystery is we don't know what their intentions are. Are they just miffed at us because we're destroying our planet, or are they, who knows? Yes, the skeptic just got you guys thinking about stuff.
All right, James, you wanna interject because Bill's kind of just I literally
he's running away with the damn show. Just let him run. Hell, I mean,
he's gone through all the notes.
I mean, honestly, what can I say?
I'm just gonna spread this out a bit, and Bill just went here's all the information. Well,
I mean, okay, if we want to delve into the I don't want to call it absurd, but the extreme, our researcher just sent me a message that it's humans from the future trying to circumvent us from seeing to our cataclysmic end. I added words there because it sounded better.
All right.
No, I mean,
let me go through some of the stuff here. We've been getting a lot of comments. Actually, tell you what, James, how about you give me your 2 cents? I'll read through and I'll have the researcher look up when the McMinnville photo was taken.
Well, one thing that comes to mind for me is everyone's talking about the Roswell incident, and not much has been said about a second crash site within the same week time frame, 250 miles away in San Augustine, I believe it is. And I was watching the documentary on this, and they got, as of 1994, doing archaeological digs and stuff, finding artifacts from that crash site and trying to correlate it with the Roswell incident. So I'm just, is there some correlation between the two?
maybe.
Thoughts, Bill?
Well, like I said, it's if the prevailing theory is correct about them making appearances around the time when we're doing nuclear testing, whether it's us or the Russians or the British or the French or whoever was doing nuclear testing. I mean, that's it. It's I don't know. I mean, like it's
all right.
It's got my tongue tied because I don't know what that means. But it's possible that there's a correlation there.
Right. The McMinnville photo was taken in 1950. 50.
Okay.
So that was actually taken
3 years after.
Quite a few years after Roswell, the Maury Island incident. 47 seemed to be like the big year. I mean, we also had sightings in Mount Rainier, which led to the term of flying saucers because the pilot at the time was not ready for this one. I don't have his name. Said that they looked like saucers skipping across the lake.
Yeah.
And that's where we got the flying saucer from.
Right. The journalist had just coined the phrase flying saucer, and it took.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But,
All right.
I
don't know about anybody else, but I'm thoroughly impressed that Bill just came to the table and went, "Hey,
right,
I know what I'm talking about.
For
it's on all my notes."
Look, I didn't even go through any notes. Like this is all stuff that I've watched over the last 25, 30 years. Just being bored and watching sci-fi documentaries and stuff like that. That's where it all came from.
I mean, this reminds me of one of our episodes from last season where you gave Bill the go-ahead on what topic it was, and he just went off on it.
Sometimes I actually know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's really scary.
Eventually, we're going to have a topic that James is going to run away with, and we'll sit here and just.
That'll never happen.
What are you talking about? Scary? That is downright amazing. Like you two guys talk your paranormal stuff like all the time, and I'm just like, that's all, folks. And but the one time that like I can hold my own in this conversation, and you guys are like, oh, it's scary. Some people's kids.
I wouldn't say it's so much scary. I think we're more
Are you awed? Are you in awe of me? Is that what it is? You are.
I'm in awe. I'm in awe. And why am I in awe? Because you are the skeptic. I bring things
Yeah.
to the panel.
I didn't say I believed it.
You're the
Look,
first one to sit there and say, "Oh, it's a conspiracy." Da, da, da. But you walked in the door with this one, and you went.
I never
Here are
said
the
I
UFO
believed.
facts. Here are the conspiracy facts. If the Men in Black come and get you, that wasn't our dealing.
I never said I believed any of the stuff that I said. I'm just regurgitating what has been reported.
Oh, well, I never said you believed. I said you've come through. Okay, here's the possibility of UFO stuff. Here's the possibility of the conspiracy stuff. Here's the government stuff. Here's how the town looks. You just come through and went, da, 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 all right, here we go. And
our researcher got a little lagged and like just come to the part where y'all are like amazed that I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, hopefully it's not the show being lagged.
Yeah.
I've got this up filming and then I've got it on the laptop. So anybody that's looking out there and you're able to see my face move around, I'm trying to type responses while Bill's basically running away with this show.
Yeah,
that's why there's three of us.
Okay, so one thing I would be interested in seeing and maybe possibly looking up later is take dates of the UFO sightings and then correlate them with the dates of known nuclear testing and see how close they are to each other. Because if okay, for the sake of argument, let's say the little gray men exist. All right. Let's say for the sake of argument that they exist, and let's just say for the sake of argument that they're coming around. You know, the big question everyone has on their mind is why? Why are they coming around? What is drawing them to us? Right? And if there is a correlation between their appearances around the time of nuclear testing, then clearly that indicates that they are drawn to those nuclear testing. Now, what does that mean? Are they trying to save us from blowing up our planet? You know, again, we don't know. Because if they have made contact with us, the government has certainly been hush hush about it. It's like for whatever reason they feel like, you know, it's not in their best interest to let the public know one way or the other whether, you know, A, they exist, and B, what their intentions are.
We lose James.
I was going to say, did we lose James?
I think we lost James.
Or maybe he just got so frustrated with you know, my prowess this episode. He's like, I just can't hang. I can't deal with that Wild Bill guy. Like, he's supposed to be our lackey. He's supposed to be our the MIB is coming for Bill. Okay. He's, you know, he's like, he's our whipping boy, and like he couldn't. I'm not his whipping boy this episode. Like, in other words, I made you all my bitches. Can I say that? Oh, I just did. Oh, look, he's back.
Everybody.
Yeah, sorry.
Now we've got James in the hot seat.
Uh-oh.
Who keeps saying the MIB is coming for me?
I don't know, man. I think we're just being hacked.
Well, okay. You know,
I'm just having fun with the banners.
Look. Oh, was it you?
You've left me no job here. Normally it's me presenting, and then you guys arguing in favor or against.
Oh. Well, man, now I want to listen to Will Smith's "Here Comes the Men in Black." Galaxy Defenders.
Mm-hmm.
They won't let you remember.
Okay, so no, Bill, I don't think we're so much shocked or surprised. I don't know. Maybe surprised is the better word. But you are correct. There are a lot of documentaries out there, a lot of YouTube shows. There's a lot of interesting things.
I mean, we get some of those guys down at the Ghost Conference every year, so it's like, it's not like it's a subject that we're not unfamiliar with.
Yeah, I think you are talking about James E. Clarkson, the author, who actually lives up in Washington, I believe. He's written a lot of books on UFOs, cover-ups. He's a good guy. I got a picture with him. I mean, I knew who he was. I don't think anybody else really had a clue. Like you, I've seen a lot of documentaries. I've seen a lot of specials, a lot of interviews. I've done a lot of reading up on it. Apparently not as much as Bill has.
I don't read. I just watch. I watch hours and hours of mindless TV. That's
but
all.
You've committed it to memory.
Not intentionally. It just stuck there. I mean, it's like, look, I'm an avid historian, right? An amateur historian. So, like, dates and events and stuff like that, they tend to stick with me because history was always my favorite subject in school, next to geography. So it's like when I watch something that I find really fascinating, I mean, it tends to stick with me. And I did watch a documentary where the Marcel Jr. took part in that, and he explained, having handled the material and that he was thoroughly convinced that it was exactly what his dad said it was, because he was like, excuse me, I think he was something like 9 years old or something like that when his dad brought some of that material home to have him look at it. And he was like, and then his dad kind of got chewed out for removing the material from a secured location, and he had to gather all the material and take it back. Like, Junior wanted to, like, keep a small snippet of it, and he was asked, well, why didn't you just keep a small sample of it? He's like, I couldn't. Didn't want to get my dad in trouble. I mean, he would have gone to prison, so I couldn't get my dad in trouble. And, everything was accounted for, everything was documented. And then they, probably stuck it in one of their crates in some, like, vault somewhere, a la Indiana Jones, and that's it. It was tucked away, never to be seen again. Or it's still being studied today. I mean, again, playing devil's advocate, that let's just say this incident really did happen. You can bet that, well, and there's something to be said about our advances in technology over the last 80 years, right? And how it was leaps and bounds, in the level of technology. Could it be said that that's because we had alien technology that we were reverse engineering, and we were trying to figure out how it works, and we've applied it to tech of today? Well, again, that's the other conspiracy theory, that the government will never answer yay or nay. They're never going to confirm or deny that that's the case. So we're left to our own devices and our own imaginations and our own gut instincts on what we think we know. Yay, I held an intelligent conversation.
Bill's left me with nothing. I mean, every counterpoint I can have or point I can have, he's just already saying it. It's like he's inside my brain.
I don't know that. I would never want to be inside your brain, Doc, because I think I'd be psychologically scarred.
All right. So we've got 4 people watching. If anybody wants to get into the chat, give us some questions.
Yes, please.
We'll try to answer them.
Well, I'll answer
that point, how about we do thoughts? James, you want to go first on thoughts? You're on the bottom of the screen there.
You should go first. I acquiesce to you, sir.
I honestly, compared to no, I honestly believe that there is a government cover up on this. I actually do believe that something did, UFO or whatever did crash, and they did find something, debris, discs, or alien bodies or whatnot. I mean, just by watching documentaries, reading up on some of this stuff, it's hard to dismiss some of the witnesses' accounts on this stuff and go back and recreate, the feel, the touch, the weight of what the material could have been. I think the closest they came to was acetate, a lightweight material that can't crumble up. It just comes back into form, and that's what some of the witnesses were talking about. And it just, I find it hard that really people would be that scared of the freaking government that they would keep it. Well, maybe back in the day, let me take that back. Shit, nowadays people wouldn't give a crap. But back in the day, maybe people are too scared to talk.
Well, the government was a lot more ruthless and lethal back then. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
but did you ever see the movie Oppenheimer?
No.
Okay, so I don't think I'm spoiling too much here. As we know, Oppenheimer worked on the Manhattan Project, which was the atom bomb. Oppenheimer had a tryst with a woman who was a registered communist. And the movie suggests that the predecessor to the CIA, our own government, whacked her. Like, full on took her out because she was too close to the project and they did not want, loose lips sinking ships. So it's like Jesse Marcel was, he had indicated that he had been talked to, and in reading between the lines, the government told him, "We will take you out if you keep opening your mouth." So it's yeah. Of course, I also believe that this is the government that killed its own president in 1963. Well, I'm a Kennedy, and we believe that Johnson is an asshole. So, so is it outside the realm of possibility of to answer your point? Is it outside the realm of possibility for people to fear the government? No, because they've been doing shady shit for decades, and it's one of those things where it's like they're no better than the people we vilified on the other side of the pond. So, meaning our adversaries in the Soviet Union. I'm with you. I'm with you. I agree that something happened. I agree that there was an incident. What that incident truly was and why it was covered up, that's the part that I'm not too sure about.
Think about it now, the government is just now really in the last few years coming out saying, yeah, there are UAPs and they're coming forth with that information. But if something
okay. Right. So it was just
keeping that, why are they keeping that, closed lid tight and sticking with the fact that it's a spy satellite or balloon or whatever it was,
I am not a gray.
And the fact too that some of the reporting is if it was one of those balloons, you could fit that stuff in the bed of a truck, from what they think. But you can't do that with all these large debris fields if it was an actual craft.
Right. So
where's all that debris? Where'd it go?
I had a thought. Now I lost it.
Thank God.
I got sidetracked with someone, putting up there saying that I'm a gray and they have proof. Um, but yeah, there's something to be said about. Um, oh yeah, here's my thought. So look, it was just what, a year or so ago where they have a congressional meeting and someone comes forth under oath and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, you know, um,
They are real.
aliens do exist. We know they exist because we've had interactions with um, their unidentified flying objects, right?" But then here's where I'm going to go off on the deep end, and y'all are going to think I'm a conspiracy kook. But you got to look at the timing of when that came out and why they were doing that. It's like, focus on this. Don't focus on, it's smoke and mirrors. Don't focus on this thing that's happening over here, right? And so that's where it's hard for me to get behind a lot of these conspiracy theories, especially ones that are just way, that seem like they're way out there. It's like, what story were they feeding so they can hide what they were really doing? You know what I mean? I mean, it's, the government's not stupid, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. And to be quite honest, I think they operate from the same playbook now in 2024 as they did in 1947. So, you know, was there something there? I think we can all agree that there was something there. Whether it was a government, experiment, and that they needed to keep it hush hush so the civilian population wasn't aware of what they were doing, that's always possible. Whether it really was little aliens, again, I don't know. They could have been that the whole alien thing was put out there as a ruse to um, Bill's an agent for the reptilian aliens. Okay, like I used to have a visitor costume from the TV series V, so like there's, like.
No, stop, Bill, stop. Stop, dude.
So basically, it's a matter of if it's a good distraction to say, hey, there might have been some aliens over here, and then you just let the populace run with it. You let them run with the theories, you let them run with the conspiracies, because they get to talking about it, and they're wrapping their minds around it for decades, and they're perpetually distracted from what they're really working on. And I think, I personally think that that's probably more likely what's going on.
So with that being said, do you think with whatever they were working on, some experimental craft or whatnot is what was out there, and that obviously some catastrophe happened and it crashed?
Yeah, I think that's possible. Absolutely, I think that's possible. Like, look, if you have the farmer going on record as saying there is debris in my field, and the government's like all over it, and keeping me sequestered, keeping the whole town sequestered, making sure that nobody comes out. I mean, like, supposedly what they did is they locked that farm down, that nobody could come and go. I mean, it was like a top secret base. That's how they treated the security of it, until they got the thing, completely picked up and removed from the site. If this is a top secret government project, you can damn well bet that that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to come in and they're going to clean house, and they're going to either pay the farmer, or they're going to, feed a distraction story to the civilian population, to keep them second guessing what's really going on. It's the sleight of hand, right? It's like, you don't know what's in this hand, because this hand is doing something to distract you while they move this away. I honestly think that's what Roswell was. What that government project was, I can't say. I don't know. But I think it's more likely that that's what it probably was. And the UFO phenomena became a convenient distractor to keep people out, throw the people off the scent of what was really going on. I know what I know.
All right, let me look at the comments. We got a bunch of comments coming in.
Yeah, are they all coming from you?
No, those aren't mine. All right, so people are saying Greys are robots. It's not aliens. It's human craft. It's almost more of a culture phenomenon at this time, says Jade. The farmer only said UFO, though, because he recalled the other stories about UFOs at the time. And, of course, let's go back to what a UFO really stands for. Unidentified flying object. Currently, it is a unidentified aerial phenomenon. So, in the farmer's defense, something crashed. He says UFO. Technically, he's using the right verbiage because he didn't know what it was. So it was an unidentified flying crashing object. UFCO.
But was the terminology readily known at that time? I thought the terminology came after the fact.
It was flying saucers, and then it turned into unidentified flying objects. Around the same time, it got to be popular because it was being labeled as unidentified flying objects.
But we were talking like there was 2 weeks between these two different incidents, right?
Yeah, but you figure, you got the Cold War, you got this as a distraction coming in,
and news stories really didn't circulate like hot and heavy as quickly as like they do now. Not back then. So I mean, it's possible that it was a slow.
If you got a slow news day, you're going to grab anything and run with it. So,
I mean,
but we're going to put a wrap on it because we're approaching an hour. We only get an hour. So
I got so much more.
We've had fun tonight. We've had little banner parties underneath. I hope everybody enjoyed that. A little bit of humor for those listening on Spotify. You're missing.
I got a rebuttal for that robot idea.
No.
I'm just saying.
I'm
fine.
We're going to go ahead and sign off because, like I said, we only got 60 minutes. We're at 58 right now. That's all they allow us is 60. So
robotics weren't that advanced back in 1947. Just saying.
So let's go ahead and sign off. So this is Doc signing off.
This is James signing off.
And yours truly, Wild Bill, the star of this episode, signing off.
We'll see y'all next Sunday, everybody. Thank you much.
Bye.